Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Miami Moto, and today I am actually coming at you guys with a very interesting video. I haven't really talked much and gone in depth since I got the new GoPro, which I currently have right now, which I am currently recording with. It is the GoPro Hero 11 Black Edition. One of the really cool things that I was kind of waiting for with that first video that I did yesterday, just kind of doing like a little ASMR ride. I was testing out this configuration where I would have my phone recording the audio tape, or recording the audio in my pocket with the microphone side up, just so I wouldn't be getting as much like wind noise, and it actually came out pretty good. There's a couple of little things or other things that I want to be trying later on in the future, but right now my main focus is for video. So as far as the video quality goes, right now, just to kind of have the little stats up here in the left corner, I'm recording at 4K 60 FPS, automatic shutter speed. The ISO is set to minimum is 100, maximum I think is 1600 or 800, and I have a polarizer lens on the GoPro. As you guys can see, if you look up at the sky, when they tilt to the right, you could see a little bit of a kind of darkening in the sky and the atmosphere, and when they go over to the left, you can see how it just kind of shifts back and forth. This helps, well, as far as the polarizer goes, it helps with like cutting out reflections, kind of creating a more neutral density state of like lighting on specific elements that do have some like reflective properties. Even when it comes to windows, let me actually see if you could see it here. So if I tilt a little bit, well, you kind of see the reflection cut out just a little bit, but yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it does help with darkening the scene a little bit more, better than just using the regular lens cap that comes with it, which is going to be this. And this is practically what the video is going to be based on today. I'm going to be testing out just a few of these neutral density filters. It ranges all the way from, well, the polarizer that I had on here, which is the one that I'm currently using on the GoPro. It ranges from the polarizer all the way to it's going to be a neutral density 8, a 16, 32, I believe this is 64, and then a 1000. Even looking at this with the naked eye, this thing is so dark you could hardly see through it. It's like one of the most darkest sunglasses I've honestly ever seen. This would be more for 1000 would be more for like doing long exposures in the day, doing like crazy long timing, like a couple of hours for astrophotography, if that's something I want to be doing. But the GoPro does that already so well with the implemented astrophotography features and long exposure and night photos, night videos, all that stuff, and night trails, which is something I'm actually going to be testing this Friday when I do go out mudding with some friends on the Grom, which I'm so excited for. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Right now I'm gonna be recording a little bit, just kind of going around. Well, my apologies. I am currently at the fair, as you guys can see. I'm currently over here at the fair. I'm just gonna be riding around a little bit, kind of just because it's, I can hit moderate speeds with this motorcycle. I kind of just want to focus on the audio quality, also just kind of test a couple of other things with that. And then also there's just a lot of shrubbery, a lot of bushes, a lot of like obstacles that kind of crawl over the road, and it'll give me a little bit it'll like show visually more about the like slow shutter speed when they do change all those settings, how then each neutral density filter will be affecting each variation of the modes that I set the GoPro in. And I mean, you guys will see for yourself as I do start writing now here in a minute. But yeah, I'm going to be starting now with the regular polarizer, which is the one that is currently on the camera. It's 4K 60 FPS, automatic shutter speed. ISO minimum is 100, ISO max is 1600, but you guys will see all the specs right over here on the left side. So yeah, I'm going to start writing, and I'll talk to you guys now in a bit. Alright guys, so now we are going to begin the ride with 4K 60 FPS, automatic shutter speed. hyper smooth is also going to be on for now. When I start going into the lower shutter speeds, like 60 fps 125th shutter speed, 30 fps 60 shutter speed, 24 fps 48th shutter speed, when I start going into those ranges, I'm going to start turning off or just have hyper smooth off, because the slower the shutter speed and the slower the fps, it doesn't have enough crisp images to kind of like really optimize the stabilization for hyper smooth, or just also like a lot of stabilizations out there. But yeah, let's do the test and let's just see how this one looks. Let's go for a little ride. Ooh, listen to her purr. Oh wow, rookie move. Kickstand was down. All right, and we're off. So yeah, one of the main things that I actually realized and noticed with when I am recording 4K 60 FPS and automatic shutter speed, honestly the shutter speed only varies when you're in very dark situations. And the GoPro, what I have noticed personally is that GoPro would rather compromise slow shutter speed than high ISO. So what it basically does, if you have your video recording at 4K 60 FPS and you leave your shutter speed auto, and you do want to, you know, start messing with lower shutter speeds automatically, what a lot of people do is that they'll just throw a 16 or a 32 neutral density filter on the camera, and they'll let the GoPro kind of decide what shutter speed would be right, so it could compensate for the exposure that's being darkened because of the neutral density filter. Me specifically, since I live here in Miami, Florida, it's kind of always bright and sunny, and there's not really that much variation in light, unless there's, like, you know, a cloud kind of comes in and the cloud covers. But the little bit that I'm compromising with the ISO or the shutter speed changing on me, it's very, very little. So I could comfortably shoot with a 16 ND filter or even the 32 and just kind of risk, you know, shooting at a little bit higher ISO, which I don't mind, because if I have to worry about anything when it comes to post-processing or any like noise reduction, you know, Premiere Pro has a bunch of other features, and there's also a lot of programs out there that can help me compensate for those things. But yeah, as you guys can see, there isn't really much to it, especially when you have, you know, a lot of automatic settings and you're just trying to get, you know, when you're just trying to capture something, you're not really trying to focus on any like cinematic or any specific type of aesthetics when it comes to video recording. Me personally, I'm a huge fucking nerd when it comes to all that stuff, so I want to make sure that I get like I want to also like kind of something that stands out, you know, because there's all these GoPro footage up on YouTube and they all kind of end up looking the same, and I feel like the people that really stand out are the ones that take a little bit more time and that they become a little bit more invested with their cameras, with the equipment that they're using, so that whatever they do end up capturing it, they're capturing it with their vision in mind, with how they perceive reality, with how they perceive the world around them. Also, when they want to maybe emphasize on their reality and maybe you know, make it a little bit more dramatic per se, because, you know, if you're driving 40 miles an hour, 60 FPS, super high shutter speed, you're not really going to capture the speed or, you know, the density of materials that are moving towards you, moving away and towards you. You don't really get a grasp of it. But when you shoot 24 frames per second at 1/48th or 1/42nd of a shutter speed, it's crazy. Everything adds like a little aspect of motion. You start capturing motion, and 40 miles an hour looks like 85. So imagine when you're hitting 140, 150 miles an hour down the highway. Shit, it looks like you're flying, bro. You're going into plaid. But yeah, I'm almost now finishing the whole round, the little lap around FIU, which is honestly, it's been pretty nice. I actually I do like this little roundabout. I didn't really, you know, I've never really driven it for what it was. I've just kind of used it as a shortcut to get in and out of FIU. But yeah, now when we stop, I'm gonna swap out the ND filter, talk about it a little bit, and then just kind of show you guys how it looks. So yeah, we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Let me just get situated. Let me take these gloves off, take this sweater off, and I'll be right with you guys. All right, so that was it for the Polarizer, shooting at 4K 60 FPS automatic shutter speed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw the neutral density 8 filter. I might also have to set the shutter speed to automatic, just because the 8 might not be dark enough for bright daytime shooting 60 FPS and shooting 1/20th of a second. So I just got to test those things out, and then, but I mean, again, you guys will see. You guys let me know what you guys think. Let me know what the best options might even be. So let's get into this. So right now you guys see I have the polarizer on the GoPro. If I just go right here and I twist this, let me see, I think it was push and twist, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, perfect. I push, twist, and take this off. And you guys can see, maybe, you know, the sky might be a little bit more different. It might just look a little bit brighter also. And then the shutter speed might be bumping up now to compensate for whatever this polarizer could have darkened just a bit. Now I'm gonna get the neutral density 8 filter, and with these same settings, since you know it's not really gonna compensate that well if I go to 1/20th of a second, this is the neutral density 8 filter. You guys can see how it's a little bit more darker than what the GoPro is currently seeing right now. I'm gonna be shooting at 4K 60 FPS, also automatic shutter speed, and then we'll see. I'll check it out right now to see if shooting at 1/28th or 1/20th of a second with 60 FPS is going to make a very big dramatic difference in the lighting, or if I might have to compensate a lot for the high shutter speed or whatnot, but we'll see right now. So here's the neutral density 8 filter. Let me just put that on the GoPro. I can't really see, but yeah, look, actually you guys can see how much darker it is getting just with a little bit on it. So all right, there's that. Oh yeah, and that's it. So that's the neutral density 8 filter. I don't really know if it's changed the shutter speed a little bit more, and it's kind of compensating for that. Let me go really quick into the settings. I'm gonna try to switch over to 4K 60 FPS 1/20th of a shutter speed to see if the neutral density 8 filter is dark enough for me to have that steady exposure level. So this is now 4K 60 FPS 1/20th of a second. As you guys can see, it's actually not that bad. It might be just a little bright on the highlighted areas, or even something that's, you know, a little bit more bright. It might just kind of be a little bit more fluorescent and reflective or whatnot, but you know, let's kind of check it out. So we're doing 4K 60 FPS at 1/20th shutter speed. So it's not going to give you that much motion blur, but it will give you a solid spectrum to kind of work from. Even just with a little neutral density 8 filter, when you start going into 16 and 32s, that's when you could start messing with the low FPS, low shutter speeds, and get that real nice crisp shutter motion blur. So yeah, let's go on the ride and we'll see how this one goes. All right, guys. So as you guys can see up here on the left side, never get tired of that sound. This is now 4K 60 FPS at 1/20th shutter speed. So the really cool thing with shooting at 60 FPS is that, let's say if I was formatting a video on YouTube for 30 FPS and I was editing with a sequence of 30 FPS, I wouldn't really have to mess around with the functions or with the settings as much when I want to, you know, record or show something in slow motion. The only thing I would have to worry about is that if the sequence of the video that I'm doing is 30 FPS, I can shoot at 60 FPS and I could cut that video speed down by half, because, you know, 60 and half of 60 is 30, so then it'll be a nice buttery smooth 60 FPS or a slowed down 30 FPS video when I do you know, edit it. The really cool thing about 60 FPS is that, you know, it's a little bit faster. You have the option or the opportunity to record and to edit slow motion video clips when you're shooting at 1/20th of a second shutter speed. Depending on how fast you're going, you might get some type of motion blur, but you know, you are still getting a much more crisper image than if you were shooting you know, 30 FPS 60th of a second shutter speed, or 24 FPS with 1/48th of a shutter speed. So, you know, it all just kind of really depends on what type of aesthetic and what type of look you're trying to capture. But right now, as you guys can tell, this is going to be the first setting that we're shooting with a set shutter speed. So this is going to be 60 FPS 1/20th of a second. So maybe if you guys look over at the ground, you might see some type of movement, or it might just still be a very crisp image. Now when we get over here to the bushes, you know, I'm going to try to accelerate a little bit and look up, just so that you guys can see some type of movement, if there is any type of movement with such a high shutter speed compared to the other twos. Also, I'm gonna open up this visor a little bit, so sorry for the wind noise, but it is hot as fuck in Miami right now. Oh, that wind. All right, so as you can see, it might be compensating a little bit for the movement in the bushes. You might get something here on the road. All right, gonna be making this right turn. So you might get something here in the fences if I'm moving parallel to it or perpendicular to it. And don't worry, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward as my helmet's facing to the right. Don't worry, you know, we're being responsible adults here. All right, we are reaching the halfway point now. And by the way, just as a middle point, if you guys are enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions or concerns or just want to say what's up. You know, it really helps out with the algorithm. I have been getting a decent amount of traction these past couple days just because I've had some people share my stuff, which I actually saw it on Reddit the other day, which I feel like that's why my last video that I just uploaded yesterday kind of got, you know, a lot of hate. I don't know why, but you know, it is what it is. That is how I ride sometimes, depending, you know, there's a time and place for everything. All right, we are almost reaching the end. The next setting that I'm going to use is going to be the neutral density 16. For that one, I am going to try 30 FPS at 1/60th of a second shutter speed, and then when we get to the 32, I'm gonna mess with 24. 24 is gonna look so nice. So we don't really have to worry. One other thing to add now before I finish, one of the things I didn't really think about, or that I completely forgot, that we don't really have to worry about when we're shooting 60 FPS 120th shutter speed is hyper smooth. So you don't really have to stress out hyper smooth when you're shooting at a fast shutter speed, because it is still capturing pretty crisp images, enough for them to kind of overlap and stabilize the image, you know, proficiently or efficiently when you are using a slow shutter speed with, you know, whatever FPS you are shooting. You kind of want to use the rule of halves, or the rule of two in that case. When it is a blurry image and there's a lot of motion in the image, it's very difficult for the GoPro to get the consecutive blurry images and kind of overlap them while it's processing them and stabilize that image, because it doesn't really know exactly where the pixels are and it can't match them up with the previous image shooting at, you know, 60 FPS, 30 FPS, so on and so forth. But yeah, let's switch over now to the ND16, shooting at 30 FPS 60th shutter speed. And for this one moving forward, for the 30 FPS 60 shutter speed and 24 FPS 48th shutter speed, I'm going to be disabling the hyper smooth, just so that you guys can have, like, you know, again, a better idea or a more realistic idea of the type of video that I'm trying to capture for this channel. So yeah, we'll be right back. All right, so now moving on up in the world, this is the 16. All right, perfect. So right now, oh, actually, let me change the setting and I'll be right back. All right, so as you can tell, I have set up the settings properly. So I'm shooting at 5.7 or 5.3K right now. Resolution won't really have a big major impact on the quality or what I am trying to prove with this video. So it's whatever resolution it is. It's 30 FPS at 60th of a shutter speed, or 1/60th shutter speed. So as you can tell right now, the neutral density 8 filter is not enough to compensate for how bright it is outside, because we are shooting at a lower frames and a lower shutter speed. So the lower the shutter speed, the more time it allows for the sensor to collect more light. So right now, as you can see, neutral density 8, there's a little bit of highlights over here in this area. Just the kind of pavement over here is kind of, you know, it's too bright. You're losing a lot of detail, especially when it comes to the clouds, the sky. And you could only imagine if it's like, you know, like a hand right here, or if it's like a white surface or a white material. But that's something that, let's say, the neutral density 16 can compensate, because it's going to be twice of what the 8 is. Obviously, 8 times 2 is 16. But yeah, let me switch over here and you guys will see in real time, neutral density 8. I come over here and I pop off the filter. Bam, look how bright that is. It's crazy. It's crazy to visually see this, and just how dark exactly you need to get so you could shoot at these settings and get this type of look. So over here, as you can tell, it's cool. It's kind of like a little I Spy thing. So this is going to be the neutral density 16 filter. Let me pop that on and you guys will see in real time. Look at that. You would see how it is compensating for the light. It's kind of like just, you know, a pair of sunglasses for your GoPro. and boom, there we have it. This is now 30 FPS, 60th shutter speed. You're getting some very decent motion blur. You know, you got some very good highlights, some good shadows. This setting is really good. This is something I used to, this is the type of setting or the type of look I used to shoot with all the time back in the day, or when I first started, you know, was interested in making videos and YouTube videos, and especially when it came to moto vlogging and just, you know, setting having manual settings or being able to touch up on manual settings on your GoPro. Just, you know, it's kind of just getting used to your equipment. But yeah, let's do a little ride along with this one. Hope you guys like it, and we'll see how this one looks. Just let me know down in the comments below. And again, little section point, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Really appreciate you guys, and I honestly love making these videos and talking about things that I'm, you know, I don't want to say, you know, very you know, efficient with or very prolific at, but it's information that I know, and information that if it could help anybody, you know, capture something in a specific way, you know, I'm here to help. And honestly, just love talking about this stuff. So yeah, we're gonna go on the ride now, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alrighty, here we go, shooting at 30 FPS, 1/60th of a second shutter speed. So here we're, and also we have hyper smooth off for this time. So as you guys can maybe tell, there's a little bit more motion when it comes into the roads. There's a little bit more motion also when you look up, looking at overheads or anything kind of passing you by. With this setting, what you are trying to capture is some type of motion. You want to implement a kind of semi-realistic flow or semi-realistic feeling to the image, or to just what is your environment. Especially moving at fast speeds, you know, when you get on the motorcycle and you're going, you know, way quicker than regular average speeds that you would if you're just kind of walking around with the GoPro capturing scenery and whatnot. But yeah, honestly, these type of settings, when you start getting into the 30 FPS, 60 shutter speed, or even 24 FPS, 1/48 shutter speed, those I really like how they look, man. They look very nice and smooth, and even without stabilization, you know, it feels a little bit more realistic. When you're looking down at the ground, you can still perceive movement a little bit more than, you know, how it was at a faster shutter speed, just because, you know, it looks frozen. Everything kind of just like looks like it's not moving. There's no real decent movement, and you can't really perceive, you know, the speed that I am experiencing at the time, or you can't. There's a lot of limitations to just setting everything on automatic and then letting the camera decide what you're trying to capture for you. But yeah, man, hey, the motorcycle's been handling a lot better. I've been getting decent temps with it. It is very hot in Miami. Even the wind that's kind of passing through the radiator right now is also a little hot. I'm running at an average 206 to 208 degrees Fahrenheit on the motorcycle. But you know, I haven't had any real serious issues since I got the new radiator cap and I flushed out the system and put brand new coolant inside. So over here, you guys can also tell the sky. There's a little bit more movement in the trees over here when you kind of speed it up, in the ground as well. When you're trying to make a turn, you know, you kind of peek into the turn. And also, let's check over here with the fence. Now when you're riding right next to the fence, parallel to it, you speed up a little bit. It's giving you, you know, a different perspective of what you were viewing before. And honestly, I do recommend going back and forth and just kind of looking at the footage that I shot at the beginning and just seeing for yourself. Like, it's really crazy. And I'm gonna try to do a side-by-side thing. Like, I can maybe get 2 little screenshots and just put them side by side and put the settings, which I'm gonna have the settings up, so in case you guys have any questions. And also, everything is down in the description. I'm gonna try to write as many things as possible. I'm gonna have links to the GoPro that I'm using. I'm gonna have links to the ND filters that I bought, which are actually from Newer, and they were on Amazon, so they were decently priced. They weren't that expensive. So it is something that I recommend messing with if you guys do have a GoPro and are looking to, you know, get a little bit more in tune, in touch with your equipment, and, you know, capture something that's different, something out of the norm, something that isn't automatic, you know. And also just have fun with it, trial and error, do tests, kind of go around, make a couple videos, and, you know, share it with friends and share it with someone that, you know, might be having the same issue or might not know a little workaround, whatever you're trying to do or capture. So all right, we're reaching over here the end now. I apologize for how long this video might be, and also just for how much I might be talking, but I'm having a ton of fun. Oh, there's a little bit more overcast, so maybe the 24 FPS might look a little bit more different. But yeah, that was 30 FPS 1/60th of a shutter speed, and let's keep on going. We're almost done. We got one left. All right, guys, so this is now 5.7K, 5.3K, I always forget. This is going to be 24 FPS at 1/48th of a shutter speed. As you guys can maybe tell already, just with my hands, general movement when I am turning, there is a very big difference compared to the other 2 or 3 settings that we were trying before. Right now, it currently has the ND16 filter on. I'm going to throw on the ND32 and see if that improves the shutter speed or improves the exposure a little bit more. It might compensate, because right now it's honestly really good for an ND16. ND16 super bright in the day, shooting at 24 FPS, 1/48 shutter speed. You know, it's not a very big range from when we were shooting at 1/20th of a shutter speed with 60 FPS or automatic shutter speed, which should go anywhere between, you know, 1/500, 1/800, 1/1000th of a second at 60 FPS. But let's switch over. Let's see how much more light or how much more darkness and shade we're going to need in the neutral density filter so that we can perfectly capture 24 frames per second at 1/48th of a shutter speed. So again, like I said before, right now I have the ND16. I'm going to swap over to the ND32. So as we go over here and we take off the 16, get ready. There's going to be a lot of light. Bam! You could hardly see anything. That was with the ND16. Over here, we have the ND32. ND32, again, as you can tell, it's kind of like a little game of I Spy. You kind of could look through it. All right, let's put this one on. When we go into 64 and 1/1000th or 1000th ND filter, it's not really you know, that realistic. Not a lot of people are going to be shooting with those things just to do video and to capture some type of motion blur. Alrighty, and there we go. This is now 24 FPS, 1/48th of a second shutter speed. You know, it's evaluating the highlights and the shadows pretty well, I might say. It is going to be showing the shadows a little bit more darker, as you can just tell right here, but it is giving you a very nice range. Like there's just it's a different look, you know. It's a different feel that you're giving the video with these type of settings. But all right, let's do our final ride, and then I'm gonna sign off right at the end and just kind of talk to you guys for a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys again. Let's keep on going. We are almost done. Oh, beautiful. Alright guys, it is getting super hot. So right now this is 24 frames per second, shooting at 1/48 shutter speed. This one, you are going to notice a very big difference when it comes to not just the quality, but also the motion blur that you're going to be getting. Everything from the ground, the fences, the shrubbery when you're looking perpendicular to anything moving very fast. You're going to notice you know, a lot of movement in the image. One of the things that also, like I was saying before, you wouldn't really want hyper smooth turned on when you have this type of feature, this type of function, just because it's gonna, you know, really mess with the footage, and it's not gonna look as smooth as you would want it to be if you are trying to capture something like this. But for what it is, this and the 30 FPS shooting at a 1/60th of a second, those are my favorite settings to shoot with, honestly. Just again, because like I was explaining before, when with the last setting, you get to capture motion. Maybe 24 frames per second with a 1/48 shutter might be a little bit more excessive, but you know, to each their own. When you also get into color grading and neutral density and different levels of dynamic range with, you know, different cameras and whatnot, where you're not going to be just shooting with GoPro, it gets very technical, and then you start getting into t-stops and levels of exposure, and you can mess with your ISO to get more dynamic range, and you could set your aperture. You know, it gets very, very fun, honestly, for me, just because I'm a huge nerd when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, we're gonna try to do this lap a little bit quicker, just so that, you know, we could just finish up. I could show you guys exactly how the 24 frames kind of looks on these on this setting. You know, and we're putting the motorcycle through her paces today. She's been riding so well. She's been keeping her temperature nice and low as well. So good. All right, Again, over here you can check up above, check the shrubbery, you can check the ground, you can be making this turn, and then you guys can see how the fence looks like. Even going a little bit faster, I'm just trying to, you know, show you how dramatic you can get with different environments and different movements and speeds and whatever obstacles are around you. You can get them really nice and blurry, buttery smooth as the closer you get to them or the faster you go. But yeah, we're almost here, reaching the end. Let's go over here, just kind of show you the fence. Also, you know, not getting super close to it, keeping our distance, looking up, looking around. Over here, gonna get this turn, go around. And that's that. This baby in neutral, turn her off so she doesn't overheat. All right, and that was pretty much it, man. Yeah, let me just kind of take these things off a little bit, kind of talk to you guys, and just thank you guys again, and hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna actually go home now from here, gonna edit this video, and yeah, that was pretty much it. So the neutral density stuff that I was showing you guys right here, there are a ton of brands and a bunch of different companies that do make different levels and intensities and qualities of neutral density filters. Honestly, this newer one that I have has been great for me specifically. I haven't had any issues with it, as you can tell. And then also, just depending on what type of, you know, look I'm trying to get, I will just kind of mess with each one and just kind of see. Which also, it's going to be my first time really looking back at the footage with each different neutral density filter personally, because, you know, I've checked on YouTube, but I've never really seen anybody do it or make a review on these type of products the way that I would want to see it and the way that I would want to test with it. All I've done is kind of look at the website, done as much research as possible, looked into it myself, and just thought, well, shit, why not I just buy it? Worst case, if it's not what I want, then I'll just return it on Amazon, you know, no problem. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe so you guys can stay up to date on all the little, well, kind of tutorials and little in-depth reviews on different products and things. If you ever have any GoPro needs or any camera needs or photography or video quality and all these other things. And even just, you know, if you ever want to go for a ride and you're down here in Miami, just hit me up. Let me know what's up. Write a comment down below. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. And again, I love you guys. I honestly have so much fun writing and just kind of recording stuff and just talking and, you know, expressing myself and what's on my mind. And really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys too. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.